Good morning, everybody. I am Elena. This is Mariana. You may not be familiar with our faces, but I assure you that the partners from the databases know our emails by heart by now. I am a philologist. She's an engineer. And so we are going to do an interdisciplinary presentation. And besides being interdisciplinary, we want it to be interactive and for you to participate. So please do not hesitate to ask any questions. Raise your hands and freely ask without being embarrassed. I know that this space is not very inviting, but we have microphones going around. And if Mariana notices that any of you has a dubious expression in their faces, she's going to be the one to give you the microphone. So let's begin then. Our presentation is entitled Building the Domain Model, and we'll get there to explain what the domain model is and how we are building it. But before that, we decided to discuss a little bit the data that is contained in our repertoires, what our users search when they're consulting our databases. And to explain that, we made 3 possible research questions that a user might have when visiting our data. So the first one could be about the contents. So let's imagine that a user is interested in the allegedly best European city, that is Santiago de Compostela, and that in particular is studying the phenomenon of the pilgrimage. So some of the questions, the most obvious and simple questions that this user is going to look for are which poems mention Santiago de Compostela, right? How many of those are related to pilgrimage? Because maybe most poems that talk about Santiago de Compostela, the most common theme is the climate conditions, and the pilgrimage is only 15th in the list. And another question will be to look for other destinations, common destinations of pilgrimage, to see if more people go to Fatima or Rome instead of Santiago. And finally, it could the last question could be to learn in which periods more compositions are written about Santiago de Compostela and the pilgrimage, right? So to make possible these searches, our repertoires will have to have these 4 concepts. To have the concept of the literary work, right? To consider that, well, to express that this literary work mentions a place, and this place will be Santiago de Compostela, that this literary work was created in a date, so we can see in which periods more compositions were written. And finally, the themes that this literary work elaborates. So far, so good? Okay. Yeah, that was it. Okay. So let's go to, we were talking about the contents, now we are going to talk about the structure. So in this case, the user is studying a particular composition, Partimen by Alfonso X and Alphonse de Wise, sorry, and Arnau Catalan. And it's a composition for which we have the lyrics, and we know it was a song, but we don't have the music. So one of the things we can do is look for other compositions in other traditions, maybe, that have exactly the same metrical pattern, and we'll find some of those. Then we look for the ones that have matching rhymes with the same distribution, and we'll get a match. So, okay, so in this case, I already know the answer of the question, so it was a bit tricky, but it was to make the point across. So, and we'll find that there is indeed a very famous Occitan song that has the same rhymes and the same metrical scheme. So the next question will be to look for other songs that also have that same music. And later we can analyze all these compositions by region and date, study the creators' biographies to maybe be able to see the relationships between them, and many, many, many other questions that we could ask. So, in this case, we had a song for which we only have the lyrics. Let me see. Okay, so there. So they only had the lyrics, but we have the metrics and the rhymes that we can analyze and compare to other compositions, and we get the Cambella Lauseta Mover, the famous Occitan song that was, which music was used more than almost a dozen times, that we know for sure now. And thanks to that, we can get the music. So this music is the same of this song that we wouldn't know if we didn't do this. And so we can access the music file and the music transcription of an item for which we didn't know the song, the music, sorry. And our last subject of study, or last research question, it could be to better contextualize our subject. So in this case, we are also studying a particular composition or poem, and we want to analyze the intertextuality relations that might be over there. So in the first case, we may want to know what other authors before Baudelaire were influenced by Sappho. Then we want to analyze the contemporary authors and see which other ones are also writing Alexandrines, or maybe writing about Sappho, or many other questions that we may ask. And we can try to see how successful Baudelaire was as a source of inspiration for other generations. So in this case, we have an author that influences other authors. We have an author that was influenced by, or that uses as a source this other author, who at the same time also influences other people. So what we have here is that we can even create a link between Sappho and the Cure going through Baudelaire. So I ask you now, right now are any of these searches possible? Right now any of these searches possible in an automatic way? Because all of the mentioned concepts exist in more than one database when we were doing the author, the source, and some of these databases have data about those concepts, right? And yet,
oh, it's me. But you asked the question and you didn't give time for them to answer. So does anyone want to say anything about this? This is very difficult for me, you know, all this about these authors and things. I don't know anything about poetry, but I understand the abstraction, and that's what I know. I know it's my job. So the thing is that each one of you own that data, and you have your own, like your house with all doors closed. Of course, we can look at the window and see what's inside, right? We can say that this window is your website. the graphical user interface, as we call it, the GUI, or GUI, I don't know. So the data is locked. We don't have access to it. We have access to visualizations of it, the ones that you choose, the ones that you think, and I don't know how you build your graphical users interfaces, you think that researchers and final users are interested in. The world out there is huge. We have so many cultures, so many views of what is life, right? So we cannot know exactly what they want to do with the data. So the data is locked in, as we call it in engineering and in the linked open data vision, we'll talk about that later, information silos. It's like locked. So we need to open those silos. It's what we want to do here in Postdata, to open those silos. So the data becomes interoperable. So what we're doing here is to break down silos. It's really what we are doing here, or we aim to do. So what is interoperability? So I just copy-pasted a definition of it. In a very easy way, it's the possibility for machines to communicate without any needs to logins and passwords, and it's really automatic. You click, they go there and take out the data, that's it. So for that to happen, we need to do something before things are working. The implementation of standards is a key issue for interoperability. And in a way, in a very broad sense, it's what we have been, well, it's the goal of, one of the goals of Postdata. You saw all those work packages. So we could say work package 1, 2, and 3, it's all about standards. Finding a common standards between all us, and not only us, others that we will want to join us. That's why it's so important. The more we have here in this stage of finding the common model, the more representation we'll have, the more value our work will have. So the first thing I want to tell all of you is thank you for coming, for taking time to be here with us. For us, especially me and Elena that have been working all this time, it is really, really valuable, your presence here, because without you, our work will not have a value. Because everyone will ask, so you did this, but who do you represent? I hope that in the end of these 3 days, I can say, well, at least I have Borja and Yuka and I lost the name, Levente, Carmen, Stephanie, Peter, Eliane, Richard. Who am I missing here? Yeah, my big friend Stephen Parkinson. You are my big friend, you know. Elena says that I don't know him, but we are big friends. Just because I'm going to tell you a joke now. I'm very engineer, and when I speak English, I feel a different person, that I'm a different person. And I'm very engineer writing English, like, please send me this, we need this for, thank you. And she was like, you have to be kind, you need to write an email with more, you know. Okay, do it for me. But then he told me, I can speak Portuguese because I'm Portuguese. So I wrote in Portuguese back, and I wrote, of course, a very nice email in a very good Portuguese, and she was like, oh, now you write in your language to Stephen. Oh, he's your great friend. Then you are my great friend. Anyway, I'm lost now. So it's very valuable you being here. So in order to, let's go back, in order to become interoperable, we have many possibilities. Technically, we can do it in many ways. Well, not many, but some. There are some. We can, as the Spanish say, plantear. I like this word. It's like we can discuss, put it on the table and discuss many possibilities. But our vision, our boss's vision, Elena, it's linked open data. And she's right. For me, it's the best way. So the paradigm where we are is linked open data. Okay? Let's try. Which is a huge open database that is available worldwide called the Web of Data. Okay? It's all about data and open. And they're available for us all to use it. Since this data is open, we can use our data, but we can also use someone else's data. For instance, we can use the data that we have in Bibliothèque Nationale de Paris, Biblioteca Nacional de España. I don't know in the UK, but probably you also have a biblioteca full of linked open data available. And many other things, many other places. Probably you all have examples. So we can use that data. And that is a big advantage over other approaches. It's really very open. If you have any question, you should stop me. Really, I would love to be stopped. I will be sad at the end if you don't stop me and you don't ask questions. Means that you didn't understand. So please, if you don't be afraid of saying, I'm not understanding. Can you repeat? It's okay. Because I'm here to work with you. I'm not here to say a talk and go away. So this is LOD from last month. So all the dots or the little balls that you have there are data sets, open, available. We can't see very much, but there you can see where you can go, lod/cloud.net, okay? And these are the different contexts, domains. So different colors, different domains. And we have literary somewhere, can you help me? Literary, linguistics, you see this color is linguistics, and publication, so we have already there, and probably other geography, cross-domain, government, life science, no, nothing else. Yeah, okay. So you see, you already have a lot of things there with data. We work every day on the web of documents, okay? All your graphical users interfaces, your repertoires, or your whatever you want to call it, they are on the web of documents. The browser that we use every day, we are accessing documents in HTML. That's the web of documents. Now we have the web of data, which is, we don't have documents, you have data. You have files with data there inside, descriptions of things that are on the real world, about paintings, about books, about cars, about whatever. About cities, numbers about how is our health. The UK government, for instance, has a lot already. It's incredible. In Portugal, unfortunately, we don't have. So these two webs are like together there, living together. Web of documents, it's for humans, for us to go, access the URL, click, link to another document. The same logic exists for the web of data, linked open data. you have data, and who accesses the data? Well, primarily machines. And then, of course, we build on the web of documents, or not, or in an app. We built visualizations of the data. That data is linked with other sets of data. So it's the same logic. But what I want to say to you is that how does post-data affect your repertoires? Nothing will change. Everything will remain the same. You still have your graphical users interfaces, your website. You can continue with your projects of putting more texts, of going to natural language processing to look for whatever things you said that it's very difficult for me to repeat, but I understand a little bit. Okay, nothing changes. But what is the idea? If the data you have on your servers, on your databases, on your Perl objects, on your SQL databases, XML databases, if you, at the same time that you have there and you update those databases, you have a kind of a script, software, something, doesn't matter. We'll talk about that on Friday afternoon. You transport that data to LOD, you'll be on both sides. Okay, you kind of replicate it. You need to update it, right? If you change something in your website, in your database, you need to update your linked open data. But it's a machine that does it automatically. The difficulty will be to do that software, but then it will be automatic. So, what is written there? Okay, so that's the idea. We are all here because of that. Because now, in this moment, well, we can do it, but let's do it well. Meaning, let's build standards in order to be able to talk all the same language. Otherwise, I'll do this, and then you'll do that, and in the end, we'll not be interoperable. It will not work. We need to do it all the same way. That is how it works with linked open data. So my challenge is, let's put our own ball there. The poetry and poetry metrics domain, let's build a ball there in LOD and link it to the other balls we have there. But libraries, at least libraries, right? Or museums, archives, probably. We need to sort it out. So the goal of post-data, the work package we work in, is to define a so-called metadata application profile. That's the geek name for the thing. And which is a semantic model in the context of linked open data. And for that, we follow a method. So we're not going it like, okay, let's see, what are we going to do next? No, there's a method. There's a way to do it. And the first, I would say, milestone is to build a domain model, a common data model among all the community. Not only you, we start by you, because we don't want to reinvent the wheel, but we also want others, because we have other databases. We also want final users, researchers, to tell us what do they need, so that's why we have that survey. What else? And we are going to analyze your websites also, your graphical users interfaces, functionalities, because, for instance, in Cantigas at Santa, no, in, help me, in MEDB, what's the name? What? Means what, MEDB? Medieval database? Yeah, okay, yeah. We have found information on the website that is not on the, SQL structure that you have given to us, right? So you see, there is something missing. We cannot only go to the databases, probably because it's not well documented, something very common in informatics. So informatic people, those guys, okay? So that's what we are doing now. That's what we are doing now, okay? So what is this, what is a domain model? It is a model, a data model, that presents the concept. So it's an abstract thing, very abstract. The concepts of the context we want to capture. And how these concepts relate to each other. Elena already introduced a little bit. That's why I started by the easiest way in order to go deeper and go the difficult way. Stefan, are you okay? Yeah, okay. Tired, probably. Yeah. But it's difficult. I can slow down and repeat. It's okay. So, this workshop's goal, at least this part, this first day, and then on Friday, is to present the model. It's a huge model. So we'll try to, we go slow. And then evaluate it. So you need to test it, to evaluate, to test, to see if it works with your database. So as we already have said, we analyzed 11 databases. We have some databases that we are already starting analyzing them, but we didn't have responses on time, so we didn't have time to do it for this workshop. Of course, other iterations. It's a very muito iterativo. It's very iterative. It's a very iterative process. So we go back and forward lots of times. So what we are going to present you, it's not at all a final version. We are willing to discuss. You say it's wrong, because we need that. We need your discussion. And we'll analyze other things, and I have said this already. So we don't reinvent the wheel. How did you do it? We have different repertoires, databases. We analyzed all models and the functionalities. This is again the same. So the starting point, each one of you, we need to stop? Okay. Good.
I don't know if, sorry, I don't know if it's not a
Don't
very
be.
good moment to...
It is, I think it's a good moment, actually. It's a very good moment, yes. So you have the little, como é que se diz? Blue tickets? They are outside. So Patricia, she's there. She'll give you a ticket for coffee and a croissant, right, Mara? Yeah. So it's not a French croissant, it's a Spanish croissant, but you didn't come here to eat the same, right? So we just follow Elena and Mara, and we have a coffee and a French croissant with a little thing, and we come back in 20 minutes. So we are here at 12, okay?
Does everyone has the voucher for the coffee? Okay, we have outside voucher for coffee and also for lunch. Okay, thank you.